Hey everyone, Arthur Fantastic here, and today we're going to talk about who is really accountable for hookup culture and who is really having all the sex. Now, to start off, we're going to talk about 304 culture. Just 304 hookup culture, the bimbos, the sleuts, the women that are giving it up to dudes that don't necessarily really deserve sex, but because of some vague notion of sexual liberation or sexual need, that if a man said it, talked about it, they'd just be called a dog and stuff. And this sexual need uh, resulting in insane amounts of promiscuous sex, it doesn't really make sense because, um, as we see today, in terms of relationships, marriages, let's talk about marriages. That there's actually metrics on that, right? 80% to 90% of the marriages, or rather the divorces in the marriages, are initiated by the women, which is to say that men are usually likely to stay and nest in a relationship and try to work things out, while women overwhelmingly want to leave. Women be like, "Oh, men are cheating, this, that, the other thing." That's not the case for the majority of divorce lawsuits. It's not all about cheating. Okay, that may be where your mind goes or what you think, but don't impose like, "Oh, well, this is what I think that all divorce is." Okay, don't impose what you think onto actually the facts on why people are getting divorced. Um, Going back to 304 culture, it's just something that we have to rebuke as believers. Obviously, my channel is for believers in the whole Bible, and I constantly discuss that and the Torah, keeping the law, which is the standard of what is right and wrong, as it says in First John chapter 3 verse 4. Sin is transgression of the law, or alternatively it's also translated as sin is lawlessness, to be without the law. Matthew 5:17, I'm not here to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. If fulfill does not mean abolish, which in the sentence there are two contradictory ideas, and abolish means to end or do away with, then fulfill can then not mean to fulfill and do away with. And if Yahushua was the sinless lamb, meaning he didn't break the law ever, not the Talmudic law, which we see him chastising and admonishing, but rather just the actual law of Moses, which he says this, you should follow the seed of Moses. If that's the case, and he followed the law, and we're supposed to follow in his footsteps, then maybe a lot of people's theological doctrines are not good, unwell founded, let's say. So it's easy for us to rebuke it because we know how society should be and we should act a certain way no matter how the fucking world is. Okay? I was having a conversation, a back and forth, about, women should keep their legs closed. Okay? Alright, we're going to get to that in a moment. But their point was like, oh, well, that the society doesn't operate on biblical values. So what? Then don't date a person that doesn't do that. Like, are you going to then start living like the world because what? Like, this is a woman that I was talking to and courting at another time, all right? And we'll get to more in depth of why that didn't work out. But it's not because I was like, oh, we need to have sex because it's 2022 and I deserve sex from you. It wasn't because of that. It wasn't because that's how it should be. And if you're talking to men like that, then you shouldn't be. That should be a red flag. Sorry. Like, if you want traditional values, then you have to hold the partners that you get to a traditional standard. But because women are a part of this hookup culture, this 304 culture, don't slut shame, slut pride. They are not the traditional woman. They are the modern woman, with modern standards for sex and modern ideals and not the biblical ones. Okay? Now, we know, like, talking to this woman, she knew that the biblical way is right, but she's saying, well, it's not that way. It's like, okay, it's not that way, but that doesn't mean that you don't impose those standards. It just doesn't make any sense. But modern women still, she wants to act like it's like, oh, I'm going to act like the modern world, but she still wants a modern man, a traditional man. I personally, she wants a man that's going to protect her, that's going to help provide for her. She may want to have her own things and get her own things, which was another problem that we'll get to in a little bit. But that doesn't mean that she was not wanting a traditional man, a man that's going to be there in the middle of the night if an intruder comes, and that is strong and masculine and is a leader. She wanted that, okay? But living a modern life is not going to get you there. Like, van life is cool, but not at the detriment of your social and normal life. You know what I'm saying? And so things like that shouldn't affect. You know what I mean? If you want to be in a relationship, you need to live in a life that's going to allow you to be in a relationship. And so we come to this next point via the last one, which is because it's modern times and, everyone's having sex and, it's just like, men are having all sex too. And it's just like body counts matter, obviously, then. So there is a matter of like body count mattering. We know that. We don't want to be with people that have been with 1 million people. And so a high body count speaks way more about a woman than it does a man. A man who has a high body count, okay, is like top 10, top 20% of the population. Most men are not having sex at all, okay? We look at males at 25, okay, and they roughly have about 1 to 5 partners on average. Conversely, women at the same age, 25, are roughly having, on average, 25 to 30 partners. 25 to 30 partners on average. So this is a significant amount in this current time, and it's not the men who are having all the sex, okay? It's not all men having sex. It's a very small amount who have, the resources, the looks, or the game, okay? And it's not a very large amount. Not most men are bland and boring, and, you know what I'm saying, as one of those 20% men, it isn't because I'm having sex because, I fucking tricked my wife into having sex with me. You know what I mean? I'm not tricking her or other women to have consorting, to court the idea of being in a polygamous marriage. I'm open about that. So it's just that I have a whatever, je ne sais quoi, I don't know what it is, according to you love me, my wife loves me. But I mean, I don't know what women are enjoying about me, but that it is, that thing is also knowing, you should know that it's a rare thing in men. Good looks are not a rare thing in women as much as being that top 20%. There's a lot of good looking women. Okay, they say, somebody said on Fresh and Fit, like a dime turns 18 every day. Okay. So that is to say, men are not having sex. Most women are having sex, and they're having a lot of it. And the most of them are having sex with one particular type of man in the 20%, and they're fucking complaining that 20% is like the same, when there's 80% of men that are not having sex at all for the most part, and not reproducing. Okay. Abundance of Life channel, they had a saying from their little book that they like in a satirical way are imitating the Bible, and it was like Thessalonians or something like that. It was like, it's like, if they have a promiscuous past, their relationships won't last. And that's a true statement, because on average, once a woman has 5 partners, Okay, at 25, they're averaging 25 to 30. At 5 partners, 80% chance of depression. The next relationship not lasting, which is only compounding to the next one and the next one and the next one. These are they're likely to be 1 in 4 women are on like antidepressants. We all know everybody's fucking smoking weed or drinking. We all know that like fucking women are more likely to be fucking alcoholics. It's just so it's modern culture isn't doing it for anyone, and yet we'll see people who want these traditional things still like getting up and going out and drinking and going to the club and like, is that where you think you're going to find the man? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Oh, why are you controlling me? Okay, here we go. So what women want is to say that, oh, men. This is what that woman would say. Oh, but 2 people in a relationship. But 2 people in a relationship. If there's a pregnancy, there's 2 people in a relationship. There's 2 people, but not everybody is fucking in a relationship. A lot of people are just fucking. And so, who is giving entrance to the vagina? Who has the womb? Who has control over the place that if the seed is planted, there will be a pregnancy? We all know men are fucking trying to get it in. Period. Okay? But some men are fucking unethical, unmoralistic, and just nihilistic, willing to completely lie about whatever is necessary to get in. But that doesn't mean that all men are like that. And some men are, if they have a code and you just vet the men and you have the people in your life vet the men and you vet the idea and you take your time to not fuck them and you take the time to think and want to do what that person would want from you as a partner instead of being the modern woman because this is the way life is now in 2022. It's not biblical, so we gotta live not biblical lives. Why do you look and see around the world that people do anyway, and they're having a way better go at it than just the normal people who are like plagued with fucking single motherhood and fucking baby daddies and baby mama drama and fucking children in single mother households who are more likely to be in jail, suicide, fucking mental issues, addiction problems, illiterate and fail out of school. Like, these are all high metric, been talked about. That's quoting Obama right there. Thing that we know all up through the whole earth, right? And we don't want to acknowledge that rolling that fucking Russian roulette chamber every time you have sex with a new person or a person in general, if you're not trying to marry them, is fucking not good. You're fucking rolling a dice for no fucking reason because of some sexual need. Like, we all fucking know, alright, that we met people masturbate. I'm not fucking saying, oh, you should go masturbate and shit like that. But there's, like, masturbating, which I don't remember seeing anything about masturbating in the Bible, and then having sex outside of marriage, which it says fornicators and sexual immorality, right? People who are fornicators will not fucking enter the kingdom. Okay? So, but isn't masturbation immoral? I mean, if you're watching fucking porn, right? You shouldn't be fucking watching porn, but that doesn't mean anything about